Malaysia Tzu Chi volunteers give support to emotional storm survivors in Kedah. Making way for trees, Xinhua District in Taiwan's Tainan give their tree friends room to grow. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee. Thank you for joining us. In Malaysia, a heavy storm struck Kedah, affecting a housing complex in Alor Setar, leaving 16 houses severely damaged. Upon learning of the news, Kedah Tzu Chi volunteers arrived with consolation cash and support. Recipients also seized the opportunity to adopt Tzu Chi's bamboo coin bank in return.
Here at the housing complex in Alor Setar, Tzu Chi volunteers are surveying the damage caused by a recent storm. Being 20 years old, the apartments almost crumbled in the face of the storm.
Keadaan. Oh, takut ah. Dia ada rumah. Kita ada bawah. Ada bawah. Tak berani naik.
Door to door, volunteers survey the damage at each household. At one household, volunteers find furniture soaked by rainwater and the electricity cut due to a malfunctioning transformer.
Ini air mana?
Air semalam.
Air semalam. Air hujan semua. Ini dia pun sudah masuk sini. Dia sudah masuk di sini.
Following their initial survey in the morning, volunteers returned in the afternoon for an aid distribution. The gesture moved several residents who decided to adopt Tzu Chi's bamboo coin banks as a way to reciprocate.
I'm very touched. This is my first time to receive help from Tzu Chi. From the words of your consolation letter, I can sense your sincerity. Tzu Chi really reaches out to the disadvantaged. I promise I'll be the first to make a donation when I encounter Tzu Chi volunteers in the night market.
Saya belum jumpa. Kat pasar malam saya buat. Saya jumpa persatuan ni.
In fact, several households were severely damaged. However, I believe with our emotional and material support, they will soon be back on their feet.
Thanks to the volunteers, these care recipients will soon be able to put this disaster behind them.
In Taiwan, on April 16th, a car accident on National Highway number 3 near Yunlin's Gukeng left 2 dead and 6 injured. According to initial reports, a vehicle's blown tire caused the tragedy. Dr. Li Yigong of Dalian Tzu Chi Hospital, who was also on the highway, was there to respond immediately.
The video footage shows the seriousness of the crash, with parts of the truck scattered everywhere. Ambulances arrived soon after to take the driver and passengers to nearby hospitals. According to the police, the 7 passengers in the truck were members of a Chinese classical music ensemble who were on their way to Tainan for a performance. At 1 p.m., the truck's tire blew out as it was driving on National Highway number 3, causing the truck to slam into the northbound lane before flipping over.
The driver was jammed in his seat and the other 7 passengers were thrown out of the truck.
The victims were immediately sent to nearby hospitals, with 4 sent to Dalian Tzu Chi Hospital. As the medical staff are carrying out the emergency treatment, unfortunately, 2 of the passengers passed away in the emergency room.
We received 4 patients, 3 males and 1 female. 2 of them showed no pulse and we're still trying to resuscitate them. Luckily, the other 2 patients are stabilized.
Fortunately, Dr. Li Yigong of Dalian Tzu Chi Hospital happened to be driving by the accident and offered medical attention to the victims before ambulances arrived.
On a lighter note, also in Taiwan, New Taipei City汐止Tzu Chi volunteers recently helped a senior couple clean up their messy home. Although at first the offer was kindly rejected, the couple later relented and the volunteers were finally able to give the seniors a clean and safe place to live in.
Paint flaking off the walls and litter everywhere. Today's汐止Tzu Chi volunteers in New Taipei City are here to help a senior couple clean up this mess.
They have difficulty getting around. The husband cannot see very well, so he tends to litter carelessly. He rejected our offer several times before.
Touched by the volunteers' determination, the senior couple finally agreed to let the volunteers into their home. Following 25 volunteers work hand in hand, scrubbing and sweeping away years of dust and dirt. Working alongside the volunteers are several community residents. Despite the filth, everyone is eager to lend a helping hand.
It is hard to imagine that there are still people living in this kind of environment. We rarely come across situations like this in our daily lives.
Everyone worked hand in hand and I cleaned the house as if it was my own. I will do whatever I can to help.
I want to thank the Tzu Chi brothers and sisters for helping the couple clean up their home. We are truly grateful.
Thanks to everyone's efforts, these senior citizens finally have a healthy and safe place to call home.
A good cleaning agent does not need a handful of chemicals for it to be effective. In our next report, we take a look at how natural and eco-friendly detergents are actually made.
Inside the warehouse, racks are filled with boxes of detergents that have just come off the production line. Forklifts carry boxes back and forth to ready them for shipping. Let's find out what is really added to our detergent. There is no sharp chemical smell in the air. Always regarded as confidential, who knew the formula is actually this simple?
Everybody take a look. This is coconut oil, natural coconut oil.
A white and thick texture, coconut oil is a natural surfactant. Alongside it are bags of table salt. And the lemon essential oil exudes a fresh and citrus fragrance.
椰子油、盐巴跟柠檬油这三个加在一起的话，它就会有一个很好的洗净力。
Cleaners don't necessarily need additional chemicals for them to be effective. The manufacturer admits that petrochemical materials are often added to detergents to lower manufacturing costs. But eco-friendly products are different.
These are the natural ingredients we usually use. The supplier provides us with certification as assurance, but it's not really helpful because it's difficult to distinguish these substances.
In order to strengthen control, apart from obtaining certification for raw materials, testing is also done on orders. To find out whether or not detergents sold on the market do in fact contain problematic substances, we randomly selected 15 products for testing. And the findings were...
We detected 1,4-dioxane in one of the products, which is classified as a likely human carcinogen. According to current legislation, 1,4-dioxane is only prohibited as an added ingredient in cosmetics. However, it does not prohibit the presence of 1,4-dioxane in detergents.
What is worrisome is that 1,4-dioxane is not the only substance that is exempt from inspection. Many pesticides and environmental agents are also excluded. From the plasticizer food scare to the processed starch and now toxic detergent, the root of the problem is exactly the same: a lack of regulated control and inspection.
Why haven't we managed to get these things right? It's really because of the government's inability to regulate and manage these toxic chemicals. If manufacturers continuously change their products, it becomes harder to regulate. So the only other alternative is to restrict the ingredients available for use.
As long as there is no regulation in place, harmful substances can easily slip into the supply chain. To prevent children from being exposed to this threat, many schools have started to take action. Inside Sanji Elementary School, this mini-sized central kitchen provides 1,700 teachers and students of 5 schools with healthy lunches each day. Washing the dishes after each meal is also a major effort.
We wash it here first and then send it through here for rinsing, and we never use dishwashing liquid. The heavy-duty dishwasher on the side can do the job quickly and easily, but the school prefers manual labor, and it is not without reason.
Commercial detergents are used in heavy-duty dishwashers, but since we cannot be sure of their chemical composition, we should rather use high-temperature steam to sterilize the dishes.
Although dishwashing detergents may clean the grease off our plates, but what is left behind are often harmful substances such as formaldehyde or heavy metals. However, thanks to the efforts of Sanji Elementary School and other institutions, our children can now enjoy meals that are free from such harmful chemicals.
In 2011, the Tzu Chi Kuala Lumpur and Selangor chapter established the Happy Campus Plan, which aims to give underprivileged students a chance at an education. In our next report, we meet Serdang Tamil Elementary School's Vice Principal, Ganswari, whose school has been a beneficiary of Tzu Chi's help. But first, we meet the Tzu Chi volunteers behind the Happy Campus Plan.
Since 2011, Malaysia Tzu Chi volunteers have been promoting the Happy Campus Plan in various Tamil elementary schools. Behind the project is Tzu Chi volunteer Chen Meicong and Zhang Meiling.
Teachers told us that after the establishment of the Happy Campus Plan, their school's attendance rates have improved. Many children can now finally study free from worries. All the hardships have been worth it.
Thanks to volunteers' efforts over the years, many housewives have been inspired to join and help even more needy children.
I have been promoting the Happy Campus Plan for about 2 years. Sister Mei Tong and Mei Ling have been there every step of the way. They taught me many valuable lessons.
Tzu Chi volunteer Chen Meicong, who is a retired teacher, says the project has helped her rediscover her passion for teaching.
I am very happy to be a part of the Happy Campus Plan. Every time we visit the students, they always welcome us with smiles. It makes me feel that we have made a difference in their school. I feel great.
Flipping through a book that documents the problem her school has encountered over the past 10 years is Ganis Wali, who is the vice principal of the Serdang Tamil Elementary.
So the first day of school, the whole office will be full of parents asking. So when every parent come, I will write down their problem, and every parent has a complaint that they cannot afford to pay the bus fare. So for me, it's a problem because that day I become very depressed, very sad.
However, her problems were solved when Tzu Chi volunteers arrived at her doorstep in 2011.
2013, I got no record people asking me for help. So basically, firstly, Tzu Chi has solved our problem, our main problem for this. I think it would have increased to about 85%.
Knowing that needy students are now being taken care of, Ganis Wali decided to join the volunteers' ranks.
Vice Principal Ganeswari is a big supporter of Tzu Chi. She has been helping with Tzu Chi's aid distributions and tuition subsidies. Whenever we ask her for help, she is always willing to lend a helping hand.
To gain a better understanding of her students, Ganis Wali also joins the volunteers in home visitations.
Actually, we must go there and see, then we know the true picture. We must know their income, their difficulty, then we can help.
With Vice Principal Ganis Wali and Tzu Chi volunteers paving the road ahead, more students can enjoy an education free from worries.
Continuing in Kuala Lumpur, the DaAi Educare Center recently invited a physician to the school to share with the students tips on how to keep healthy, as well as give the children a chance to use some basic medical equipment. Teachers hope that the visit will lessen the fears students have about going to see a doctor and perhaps even inspire them to be one in the future. Donning a lab coat and picking up a stethoscope, children of Kuala Lumpur's DaAi Educare Center are playing doctor today.
今天来到其实跟大家分享一下是主要有分几个部分啦。
Today I'm here to share some medical tips with the children and also give them an opportunity to feel what it's like to be a doctor. I want them to listen with a stethoscope and learn that doctors are not that scary.
来玩一下，给人感觉是医生这样子的，其实医生并没有他们所想象中那么可怕。听到吗？听到什么？跟他们讲听到什么？
Shedding light on medical equipment and giving the children an opportunity to measure each other's blood pressure helps the students let go of their fear of doctors.
刚刚医生也有给我们量血压，
The doctor measured our blood pressure, and if the blood pressure is high, then we will have a pounding headache. But if the level is at 100, then that's perfect. We need to maintain a healthy body by exercising, eating lots of vegetables, and drinking plenty of water.
Through the activities, students learn to appreciate the hard work that goes into being a doctor and perhaps leave inspired to join the medical profession in the future. The Xinhua District office in Taiwan's Tainan already lacks sufficient parking space. However, the office recently decided to remove 2 valuable parking spots to make room for valuable guests. We now find out why they did it and who these mysterious guests are.
There is a parking lot of Tainan's Xinhua District office. Nearby are several hundred-year-old trees marked off by tape as work is being done around the area.
Before, this area had concrete pavement.
Parts of the concrete pavement which used to block the trees' growth are still visible. The office decided to move much of it to save the trees.
If the trunk of a mahogany tree is black, it means the tree is dehydrated and lacks enough oxygen. Normally, the trunk should be brown in color with beautiful spots and lines.
In order to protect these old trees and to give them room to grow, we have gotten rid of some of the pavement.
The pavement was first put in place to make parking easier, but seeing the trees in distress, a group of volunteers sprang into action.
If the environment is not suitable, then the trees will grow up crooked. Last year, we removed pavement for the sake of these pine trees. After a year, they are finally growing up straight.
Last year, the office's volunteers helped save a group of pines behind the office. This year, they hope to save the mahoganies. Though parking spaces need to be sacrificed, the presence of these majestic trees will not only improve the environment, but air quality as well.
This seems to be blackened as well, and because the surrounding environment is not ideal, ants can gnaw at the tree.
The tree volunteers regularly check on the health of the district's trees.
Grass should not have been planted here as it will fight the trees for nutrients.
Why does a tree wither? The volunteers search for an answer. Though people now value planting trees, experts say species and environment must be carefully considered before planting.
If a tree is 20 meters tall, then its root will be 20 meters deep. If a tree is 3 meters high, then its root will be 3 meters deep. If its branches are 3 meters wide, its root will also be 3 meters wide.
A tree's dimension on the surface has a 1-to-1 ratio to its growth underneath the ground. Take this camphor, for example. At nearly 6 stories high, its roots extends downwards for about 20 meters, while also matching the width of the tree.
A tree's root system will try to expand outward, but concrete pavement will block their growth.
A healthy root system requires not only water but also fresh air. By covering the surface with asphalt or concrete, a tree's roots can die from a lack of oxygen, an important point to remember when planting your next tree.
Moving to Taichung, we meet Dayong Elementary School staff Lai Zhiran, who has been caring for the trees and plants on campus for the past 18 years. Thanks to the caretaker's dedication, students learn the meaning behind the phrase, excellence is achieved by being mindful.
Caring for each tree with extra attentiveness, this is 61-year-old Lai Zhiran.
There are cracks and splits on this tree trunk. It shows that the tree is growing.
Lai Zhiran has been working at the Dayong Elementary School in Taichung City for 18 years, and many trees on campus were planted by him.
It is great to be close to nature. Tree leaves can be turned into organic fertilizers.
Although fallen tree leaves are considered trash for many, Lai says it is the best organic fertilizers.
Tree leaves help retain the moisture in the ground. I don't have to water the trees that often.
Although not a horticulturalist, over the years Lai has been caring for these trees and plants like raising a child. For many teachers and students, Lai is a model of how excellence is achieved by being mindful.
He has been planting and caring for the trees like raising a child. He knows what types of flowers bloom in the spring, summer, autumn, and winter. He is a plant expert.
It is great if people can plant more trees.
Thanks to Lai's dedication, Dayong Elementary School students can study in an environment that is filled with lush green trees.
In the United States, the U.S. Tzu Chi headquarters organized a Master of Ceremony training seminar where a veteran TV host from Taiwan was invited to share useful presentation and communication skills with 42 trainees.
Here at the U.S. Tzu Chi headquarters, participants come together to learn how to be a Master of Ceremony. The 3-day skills training seminar aims to give participants key communication skills that will help them successfully host any event.
Today, I have learned many skills, which I will pass them on to my fellow Tzu Chings back in San Diego.
During the training seminar, experienced TV host Xie Jiaxun passed on her decades-long experiences.
Listening and speaking complete communication. So in my opinion, whether or not you will become a master of ceremony or take on related duty, you should realize in order to communicate, you need to pay attention to both listening and speaking.
I've learned a lot through this event. Sister Xie gave me useful pointers and taught me how to adjust my tones when talking to others.
Thanks to Xie Jiaxun, 42 trainees go home with valuable lessons which will help them in the days ahead.
In South Africa, Tzu Chi volunteers from Durban, Newcastle, and Harrismith joined their counterparts in Ladysmith for a 3-day volunteer training event. During the event, volunteers carried out home visitations and seized the chance to motivate local residents to join Tzu Chi's ranks.
South Africa Tzu Chi volunteers are bringing their blessings to poor communities. Volunteers from Durban, Newcastle, and Harrismith joined those in Ladysmith for a 3-day volunteer training event, their first stop, Peace Town. Volunteers first arrived at this house where a young woman suffers psychological problems due to drug abuse, while a 5-year-old boy in her arms has yet to learn to walk. Each home visitation helps volunteers grow. The next day, they get up at 4 in the morning to write their visitation reports. Later, they invite local residents to attend the Tzu Chi gathering, where eventually 110 participants showed up. At the end of the event, several of them decided to join Tzu Chi's ranks. On the last day of the training event, the volunteers sat outdoors and shared their experiences with one another.
Try to keep the joy of giving in mind.
1, 2, 3.
At the end of the show, we turn our camera back to Taiwan and join a cooking competition in New Taipei City, where the teams participating in the event could only use in-season organic vegetables to create their dishes. We will leave you with these images, and as always, thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.